episode of Experience Annex. Experience Annex, as you already know, is a platform for role models, thought leaders, exemplary leaders, legendary entrepreneurs, and world-class professionals to share their wisdom with the world. By sharing their wisdom, the world gets better. We are very excited to have Mr. Pitiful, the Managing Director, CEO of Berger Paint, Nigeria, PLC, one of the largest paints manufacturers in Nigeria, on Experience Annex today. Mr. Folikwe holds a Bachelor's of Science degree in Marketing from the University of Nigeria in Nsukka. He also holds a Master's of Business Administration MBA from the University of Benin. He has more than 25 years of experience in marketing, sales, distribution, and general management, having worked in a number of top-rate companies across Nigeria in sectors in varied capacities. He brings with him a great depth of experience and knowledge in manufacturing, telecommunications, and fast-moving consumer goods environments. He was appointed the Managing Director of Berger Paint, Nigeria, PLC in March 2015, the foremost coating and allied company in Nigeria. Under his leadership, Berger Paint's 17 depots were outsourced in 2015 to business partners to operationally manage the depots locations for efficiency and profitable returns. Before joining Berger Paints, Peter had a 2-year working experience with UAC Foods, a joint venture between Tiger Foods of South Africa and UAC of Nigeria. This was between 2013 and 2015. He reorganized the UAC Foods Limited regional sales and distribution structure and route to market, which positioned the company for a competitive edge in its snacks, beverages, and ice cream product categories. Top line growth was about 12% experienced between 2013 and 2014. He had an impressive career at Pitiful Nigeria PLC, where he rose to the position of Sales and Marketing Director and grew turnover from 4 billion in Naira in 2006 to 15 billion in 2012. Share price also improved from 3 Naira 4 kobo in 2016 to 13 Naira. Profit before interest and tax grew from 302 million in 2006 to 1.2 billion in 2008. He was instrumental to the setup of Pitiful Ghana and Pitiful Sierra Leone subsidiaries. He was also appointed chairman of Pitiful Nigeria Limited and as a non-executive director of Bono Products, both associates of Pitiful Nigeria PLC. He was among the pioneer staff of MTN Nigeria Communications Limited in 2001. He was appointed trade marketer. He grew to become a channel manager in charge of MTN service centers and franchise operations, that is MTN Connect stores. 17 service and franchise stores were deployed within 18 months. Franchise operator financial model were reviewed to ensure operational profitability and continuous viability of strategy to MTN Nigeria. Peter is a fellow of the National Institute of Marketing of Nigeria. He's also a fellow of the Institute of Direct Marketing of Nigeria. He's an alumnus of Lagos Business School, an alumnus of the prestigious Cranfield University of Bedford. He's also an alumnus of the attended management programs in Harvard Business School. Mr. Peter, welcome to Experience Annex.
Thank you very much, Paul. It's a pleasure being on this platform.
Thank you. We have read a little profile. If we read all the profiles, it will take almost a full day. So you have been at NTM, you have been at Pitiful before now. I'm sure there are other exciting things you would like to tell our audience out there. What makes Peter tick?
Wow. I think it's people, first and foremost. one thing I'd tried to do over time is to learn from professionals, those who are before me. How did they get it right? What have they done right? So that I can learn from, I can become their, students of management. So to a very large extent, I learned from the masters. I try to read quite a number of books. And then obviously, I take to corrections when I'm being corrected so that I can learn from my mistakes. So most of the time, I don't believe I know it all. What I try to do is to learn. And if you are in the business of learning, you can only acquire more knowledge. And that's exactly what I would say had helped me thus far. I would say I have quite a number of mentors. At that time were my bosses, and I related with them as students to them. So I try to learn a lot from them. Like I said, I learn from professionals a lot. And again, I try to learn from mistakes of others so that I don't repeat same mistakes in the future. So I would say, yeah, to a large extent, my career had been enhanced by the number of people I've learned from. And I give credit to them for how they have impacted my life. I've equally learned from those who I'm privileged to have thought along the path of my own learning. That is, putting into practice those things I've learned from my superiors, putting them into practice in the lives of the young ones, and of course, unlearning the wrong things I had learned, and of course, learning new things from the younger generation. So it's all about learning. So that's what had actually helped me thus far.
Okay, so you've said that you are a good student. You like learning.
Yes.
Continuous learning. So what has it been like working with Berger Paint compared to MTN and Vitafoam?
Yeah, the experiences are different, but the objectives are same. For the fact that they're all publicly quoted companies, you have a responsibility to the owners of the business. That is to give an account of your stewardship, profitable returns, obviously. But in terms of the role play, I would say it's a lot tougher at the top, I must confess, because the buck stops at your table as the MD CEO. You need to take some difficult decisions on the spot. But the beauty of it is that there are certain things that you learn even at those younger periods of your career when you are learning from your bosses that then comes to play when you are actually left alone in that isolated position where you don't have anybody to run to. So I would say to a large extent it's a lot tougher, a lot more challenging. But the beauty of it again is the fact that you have a younger generation who actually want to make a mark. And the important thing is how you actually work with them to deliver on the objectives of the business and their own individual objectives, ensuring that there's a marriage between their own objectives in life and that of the organization. So I would say it's tough, but again, by God's grace, we are chatting and moving forward.
So as a CEO, the buck stops on your desk.
Absolutely.
So you said that it's more challenging as a CEO.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, let's move straight to Berger Paint.
Yeah.
You joined Berger Paint in 2015.
Correct.
Am I right?
Yes.
What have it been? What has been the challenges?
Well, I met with one of I would say the great leaders in industry in Nigeria when I became the CEO. That's Dr. Omolayole. When I met him, there were certain things he told me. He was very encouraged to see that young Nigerians are taking up leadership roles in publicly quoted companies as against foreigners coming to encroach on such positions. He said you can't let us down. And then the next thing he told me is, come, you don't have to be a CEO before to be the best CEO. Now, those words he spoke to me were quite challenging, very, very challenging. In that I just felt this is another job I've gotten. I will only try and do my bits, and the best I can do, as God will help me, will be enough. But with that, I felt a little more challenged to say it is not just about me, it's about the people I represent. And if people as experienced as they are, I mean those who they are so established, they are institutions on their own. If they could be looking up to people like us to be seen as we being part of their success, it puts a lot of pressure on us. So I would say when I took over the mantle of leadership, to a large extent, I would say that having been in industry and I'd never worked in a paint company, I'd never been a CEO before, that further put more pressure on me, because this is not a place I would call my forte. If I had sold paint before, it would have been easier, probably. If I had been a CEO before, it's like doing what I've done before. So it's like coming to meet those challenges and being burdened with the fact that it's not just about me. I represent institutions, I represent people that are well respected. It then behoves on me that I have to do all I can to deliver on these varied objectives. Aside from mine, I found the job excruciatingly challenging. And yeah, I would say in the last 2.5 years, things have worked out. I've gotten a good understanding of the industry. I've actually equally understood what it is to be in that role as a CEO. Not just, yeah, I know I'd sometime relieved some CEOs, but it's not like you being in that role. So I would say, yes, I've gotten a good grasp of that too. And to a large extent, part of what we've done, like you mentioned in my citation, is the fact that we realize that the efficient way to managing any business is actually to focus on your core area of business, rather than a jack of all trades, a master of none. So we quickly outsourced the depots because we were managing the depots. So there were it was bundled with a lot of inefficiency. So we felt, let's outsource it, because outsourcing is the future of any business. I mean, great companies in the world, Boeing, name them, they're all outsourced. The engine part is from somewhere else, the seats are made elsewhere, in different countries, in different regions, and they all assembled at a point. So that's what we try to do in Berger Paint. And I would say we've made a huge success out of the outsource process. The business is stabilized now, and I would say we're actually on the verge of growth now, because we're just introducing a new production line into our bouquet of, production of state-of-the-art products. I mean, like there's a product that is called the special effect paints. Yeah, that you can only import into Nigeria as we speak. So Berger Paint will be the first to actually produce special effect paints, aside from the standardized paints that we are known, and of course the marine and protectant paints that we are known for. So to a large extent, I would say it's been challenging, but I would say I'm finding it very exciting.
Now.
Yeah, I'm finding it very exciting.
Okay, so since you have jumped into paints and coating, can you just, it's a very, very interesting area, and a lot of people don't know about it.
Okay.
Can you just give us, as a layman, what is coating?
Oh, yeah, it's interchangeably used. Yeah, paint is part of coating. Yeah, I mean, you can coat wood, you can coat leather, okay. You can coat walls, you can coat any furniture. Yeah, So it is the outer layer that you apply some chemicals that they actually call coating. So it's chemistry. So the chemistry of adding that final layer is what is called coating. Okay. The chemistry of adding that final layer is what is called coating. And for Berger Paint, we are into architectural coating. We are into industrial coating. We are into marine coating. We are into wood coating. Now, the wood on that wall, for instance, that wood is coated. Yeah. This wall is coated with paint. Yeah. What you have there is paint too, but it's a different kind of coating from the one you have here. This leather has coating on it. Okay. So all these are all coating materials. Even down to your tile is coated. Yeah. But we are not into this technology yet. So to a large extent, that's what generally coating is all about. But we are in those specific areas of coating.
So how can I keep my house perpetually beautiful? How regularly should I paint?
The first thing is you must paint with Berger Paint to keep your house beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah, and I will explain that really. One thing people don't understand about paint is that paint outside of the architectural benefits of beauty, it's got the health aspect too. Yeah, you know, in our country, quite a number of things are not standardized. So that's where the major challenge with this industry is, because if the standards are in place and people are made to abide by those standards, I'm talking about the manufacturers, in the interest of the consumers, and of course, because we don't have so much consumer advocacy in this area of the industry. To a large extent, there are some paints people use now that are quite injurious to their health. Yeah, but as far as Berger Paint is concerned, we, together with some few companies that obviously are publicly quoted, we are more concerned about the welfare. It's not just about selling. Yeah, we talk about environmental impact. Of course, the health implications, the safety and health side of it, beyond just selling, you know, products. And then, of course, we talk about quality too, in terms of quality standards. You may say our products are expensive, but I've always told people, if you are an economist, which virtually every Nigerian is, if you do the mathematics very well, I can tell you, you'll find out that cheap is expensive. Yeah, when you buy something for 1 naira, it's going to last you for 1 year. Yeah. You buy the same, another similar product for 3 naira, and it's going to last you for 15 years. If you do the economics, you'll find out that the one for 1 naira, though on the face value of it looks cheap, but in the long run, the one you are buying 3 naira is actually cheaper, in quotes. It's a lot more cost effective, let me put it that way. Let me not use the word cheap, because nothing is cheap. To earn that money is not easy. So we always advise at the point of purchase, and that's why we try to educate the consumer, make the right choice. You don't have to be painting your house every day. You don't have to be, it's not like consumable. It's not something you are supposed to be eating every day. There's a lot of inconvenience in even painting your house. Yeah, somebody will climb up, do this, you have to pack your stuffs and all that. You have to move furniture. So if you look at the cost benefit of spending the money now and enjoying the benefits into the future, you are better off with brands like Berger Paints. Yeah, and for instance, our Luxor is top of the range. Our Luxor, once coated on your wall, the minimum period it could last is 5 years. Could last as much as 10 to 15 years, depending on the environment where it had been applied. Are you with me?
Yes.
Yeah. So the humidity, or you talk about heat and all that. And of course, in some instances, you find out that people who live around Lekki, they just buy paints and just apply. And after some time, they'll find some mucor membrane. The paint is getting rusty from the base of the house. From the base, you find that they're peeling, or they have some patches and all that. Yeah, we have paints that can actually resist that. We call them alkaline resisting primer. So we actually prime the wall before we actually apply paint on it. So it may look like you're spending a little more, but you're actually saving the cost of repainting the whole house all over again and the inconvenience of doing so. Yes, people will say, oh, well, yeah, taste change, I could change my color. Who says that you can't change your color even with a good paint? Yeah, I mean, if you want to change your color, nothing stops you. So, and to a very large extent, to what we've done is, we are equally not pitching ourselves beyond the reach of an aspirational consumer. A consumer that still wants to use Berger Paint, we have the budget paints for them. We call them the Robiala. So if they can't reach the Luxor or the Star, which is the second grade, you can at least reach the Robiala if you really want to use the Berger paint. But it is not just paint for paint purpose. It's actually paint to satisfy your coating needs. Yeah, in terms of architecture. Now I'm only concentrating on architecture here, of course. If you talk about the marina protection, in Nigeria today, most of the oil companies actually specify Berger as their #1 coating brand. And then, of course, if you talk about general and industrial, we are equally known in that sector very well.
You know, so you are at the, you are what you say you are.
We are in the premium sector. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, so
But we have budget bands.
Yes, so are you saying that because the others are non-premium, that's why they fail? Because sometimes you see a paint, I mean a house painted just maybe 6 months earlier or 1 year earlier, the paint starts to fetch. It's because
there are different reasons why that happens. #1 reason is actually the quality of paint, obviously. The second reason is application. At the point of application, there are some things that needs to be done. They need to prepare the wall before they actually apply the paint. So if the wall is not well prepared, you know, paint is supposed to adhere to the wall. Yeah. Why you see what you see is that there is a conflict between the wall and the paint. Yeah. So the wall is not happy with what is carrying. So naturally there will be a revolt between the two of them. So there needs to be a proper surface preparation before you actually do application. And of course, even in the application process, you need professionals to do it. You don't just get somebody from the street side, oh, he's a painter, and then you just ask him to come and paint for you. Well, for instance, in Berger Paint, we pride ourselves to say, not only do we make the paints, we actually have applicators that we train from time to time. And we're about getting to the process of certifying them, such that when a consumer needs us to specify a painter for them, we then know this guy is certified, he can do the job. So it's not just enough to say you just carry any artisan, it gets to your house. In fact, half of the paint will drip on the floor before, and then they will tell you the paint isn't enough because it's Berger. The simple reason is because the guy had not applied it appropriately. Even in the mixture, yeah, partly mixed, you may have that effect too. And then the third reason why you will have that is the fact that they will use the wrong paint for the wrong purpose. If there are paints we produce, you use them only for inside the building. There are some you use outside the building, because we had actually done environmental tests on them to be able to know this one can work outside, this one can work inside. Yeah, there are paints that you can't use outside, but people just feel it's one cap fits all. No, you don't use the same paint. You use it. There are some you can use in and out, no doubt about it. Obviously, any paint that you can use outside, you can use inside, because the environmental impact outside. Yeah, of course, the the impact on it is more than when it's inside. So to a large extent, you can actually do that. But you find out that people use the paints they are supposed to use for the inside, outside, and then you start having those defects. And then a house just built and painted, within 6 months, people are already complaining that the paints are no good. Don't forget there are weather effects on that paint. Yeah. Rain, sun, yeah, name it. Yeah. Hamatan.
Okay, so the logical question here would be, what is Berger doing to educate Nigerians about the use of paint? Because what you are telling me now, to me, I'm even hearing for the first time. And even before you paint, you need to prepare the wall. I feel like I could just go and buy the paint and start doing it myself. So what are you doing to educate people to always go for Berger, for instance?
Yeah, like we told you, we actually outsourced our depots. And we realized that running a depot actually limits our reach, our spread. So now these outsourced business partners, they're encouraged to open additional outlets so that the probability of you buying our products is very high. 1. 2, we are able to advise at the point of sale on the ideal paints to buy. A third reason why we're doing that is because we realize that the artisans are the ones taking the buying decision for the user. Yeah. And often you find out that your tastes can never be interpreted by somebody else. You have to come in there, we need to hear you out and then advise you appropriately. However, we don't have to say busy executives have to leave their offices to come. We have online platforms now where we are going to start creating those, videos of how awareness, where you can go online and check and know and be educated on the ideal paints to use for, and then of course on each of those buckets you find out that there are some literature we put there. Even if you go online, if you click on some of those products, it will be able to tell you this is the coverage area, this is where this product can be applied, and it's just that I think the typical Nigerian, or generally speaking, we buy equipment, we actually don't read the manuals and we just go to start using. But again, like I said, we want to change the psyche of the user to believe that somebody has to take your buying decision for you. The buying decision should be yours. You should decide. You need advice. Yes, you can get advice from them, but we too are available for advice. I mean, we have our customer service platform where you can call in and ask questions. If you actually need questions, you want to ask questions. Our website is Berger Paints, bergerpaintsnig.com. Once you go there, every information you need about our products are all there. And of course, we're on social media, YouTube, we're on FaceTime, Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on WhatsApp, we're on Instagram. We try to make ourselves open as much as possible for the consumer to reach us, so that they can get first-hand information from us. And obviously we have salesmen, you see our vehicles driving all around with phone numbers on them. So you can pick any and call that phone number, somebody will be attending to your request.
Okay, so let's quickly jump to leadership. Since you are one of the top leaders in Nigeria, running a Fortune how many company, a publicly quoted company. What are the challenges of running business in Nigeria?
Enormous. Your guess is as good as mine. Number one challenge is that for business to thrive, there needs to be an enabling environment. And the enabling environment is hydra-headed. First, for you to run a factory, you need power.
You need power?
Exactly. So if the infrastructure is not there for you to have the regular power source, you end up spending a lot more. Again, you can't pass all that cost to the consumer. That, for me, is a major challenge for a manufacturing concern in Nigeria. 2, availability of raw materials. The truth is that our kind of business, in the distillation process, or shall I say the fractional distillation of crude, yeah, in Nigeria we are still at level 1. I think we're just moving towards level 2 now. Most of the chemicals we use are above level 5. So they can never be produced here. So we depend on importing the raw materials here. And obviously, if you are import dependent, then comes the issue around forex allocation. Yeah, and if the CBN is not making it available, the commercial banks making it difficult for you to get. So at the end of the day, these are where the challenges are. And obviously, the disposable income of the consumer is not increasing by the day. There's inflation eroding that. So the consumer is a problem. So to even get the product supply is an issue, the demand is an issue, so it's like you're caught in between the devil and the deep blue sea. But again, this is where our thinking cap comes as managers. You know, when things are, they say when the going gets tough, the top gets going. So it's for us to explore those avenues of opportunities rather than being all gloomy. I mean, said in the dark tunnel, there's always an area of light. So we always follow that light. How do we take advantage of the little opportunities available? That's why companies like Berger Paint, since 1959, had remained here till today, because they're always reinventing themselves. Like I said, we are setting up a new factory now. It's going to be the first of its kind in the whole of sub-Saharan Africa, that you have an automated paint production process, where most of those imported paints into Nigeria, there are a lot of Nigerians who are very well exposed, well traveled. They've seen it out there, they want it here, but they can't bring it in because, again, it's a challenge with forex. So, of course, we are equally going into some international partnerships with those who are already experts in this area, so that, you know, we take learnings from them, so that we can adapt those learnings to our own local environment to improve on our product quality and standards, and bring in innovative products that will drive, you know, the market space. And basically that's what we are doing now, and we can only do that because of the little opportunities we have available. So we're exploring those opportunities to take good advantage of them. That's what we are doing. You have to keep all your... If you are a Nigerian and you don't have a thinking cap, sorry, you will soon be moribund, because ideas are changing almost every day. Yeah, so, and that's why we're equally trying to change with the times. Yeah, and I would say our greatest assets are the human assets. We are a very brilliant set of, you know, colleagues who are thinking around the clock, adding value to the business, doing everything. We push ourselves, really. Yeah. Push ourselves to make sure we deliver. Some
people say that if you succeed as a business leader in Nigeria, you can succeed anywhere in the world. What's your opinion?
That opinion is true, because Nigeria is part of the world. So if you succeed in any part of the world, you can succeed anywhere. The truth about the Nigerian factor is the issue around the enabling environment. In countries like America, banks are out there to give you loans, begging you to come and borrow to do business. And then the market space, there is an even, space to play. There isn't like somebody has undue advantage over, there's a level playing field. Yeah, nobody has an undue advantage. You don't have to know the minister or the prime minister to get your things done. The important thing is, if you have a superior idea, superior knowledge, obviously, people will definitely... And there are standards. Yeah, like in Nigeria, where you're producing, you're spending so much, to deliver on quality and standards. The other person is doing it by the roadside. He's not incurring any administrative costs. He just does anything. At the end of the day, what the consumer is looking at is the index of price. And if he sees the price, oh, this one is cheaper, before you know it, he forgets about you, that is actually more interested in giving him value. Because, obviously, I always tell people, value is the cost, the benefit less the cost. Yeah. But people don't often look at the benefits. What they only look at is what? The price. They now equate price to value. Price can never be value. Value is the benefit you have less the cost of getting that benefit. So if you now weigh, if the cost is above the benefits, then you are losing value. But if the benefits are above the cost, then you will say that you're actually getting value. Yeah.
Okay, so let's look at you as a person now. Yeah. To round up, how do you manage your time? I mean, talking about people out there, the young ones, the youth, they would like to look up to you as a leader, someone at a very young age, managing a publicly quoted company. So it means that you actually make good use of your time to ensure that you get, so let me not put words, how do you manage your time?
I said the biggest room is the room for continuous improvement. I would not say I've been managing my time too well, but I endeavor to by special grace of God. Don't forget, I manage the business, I'm a fool, I'm a pastor, I'm a colleague, I'm a friend to, I'm in a community where I'm a community leader. I'm just one person in several roles. So it can be tough and challenging. But one thing I know is that when you try to get used to doing something, it becomes a part of you. It's like exercise. If you exercise regularly, the initial pain is the process of getting used to it. The moment you get used to it, it becomes a lifestyle. Again, about managing your time is something you need to develop even at a very young age. Yeah, if you are not used to it, it will be difficult for you to do. There's a saying in Yoruba that there are some fish, once they are dry, you can't bend them again. So you need to get yourself into that flexible mode so that when you now find yourself in a leadership position in the future, you'll be able to manage your time better. And if there's anything I do is about priorities. You need to give priorities, and you need to be very organized. For me, my priorities in terms of order, my God, my family, and my job. Yeah. That then guides me in everything I do. Now, if you are in tandem with your God and you are at peace with your family, your jobs become easy. It becomes easy. But the truth, if you don't settle those two, they become distractions. There is no way you can deliver well on the job. But like I said, more importantly, you have to get used to being a multitask person. You have to, just like a driver, is driving, turning the steering, is thinking of the car ahead and the cars behind. The one beside him is equally pressing the throttle, is pressing the brake at the same time, is thinking of what to do next, the road to pass through. So you have to get used to it. So driving is not something you just get on today and then you just start driving. It's something you have to learn, practice over time. So when you are young, that is the time for you to practice being a leader. And leadership, I can tell you, is very lonely. Two, it requires a lot of patience, and it requires a lot of candor and determination.
You've talked about managing priorities, and obviously people are watching out there, listening to you. You've operated at very high levels, and I'm sure that you're a very young man. For those people looking out there, what would be your advice on how to manage career? You've been an executive director, you've been at MTN, you've been at Vitafoam, now you're MD of MDC of Berger Paint. So if you were to advise someone listening to you to manage career, what would be your advice? And in a very short way.
The first thing is do what you are good at. You need to identify in time that talent God has put in you. We all have one unique thing or the other God has placed in us. It's like a round peg in a round hole. So having identified your area of strength, or where you are most likely going to succeed, it becomes easy for you to work at it and try as much as possible to read. Try to know what the errors we have made. You shouldn't be making same errors. It is for you to learn from those who had gone past you on that same route. With the ditches they fall into, it will be error under heaven for you to fall into the same ditch if haven't learned about the errors they made. So you need to learn from the mistakes and the successes of others. 3, you need to believe in yourself. The world out there is wicked. The world does not believe that you can succeed. I've been told severally, in fact, it's been inferred that nothing good can come out of this one. But I just believe that's a distraction. And you just have to believe in yourself and whatever you are doing. And finally, you should live a life of helping people. There's one thing I know. If you, there's a saying that if you point the finger, several comes back to you. Yeah. If you point a finger of goodness to somebody, you're actually helping yourself more. The more of good you do to others, the more you are likely going to get. It may not be from that same person, but somehow along the road. Even the word of God says, goodness and mercy shall follow you all the days of your life. That goodness and mercy shall come only if you give. Because the Bible says, give shall be given unto you. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over, shall men give back to your bosom. So if you don't give, there is no way. And if you are the type that you always want to keep to yourself, in that giving, people may not even like you, please. In fact, those who are even doing well, doing good for, they may even see it. They might even suspect that you have an ulterior motive. But that shouldn't stop you. Just keep doing that good, and then you will get it in return. All
right, so in summary, there's a lot of youth unemployment. So if you were to maybe speak to a group of youth, I mean, those ones that are just listening now, maybe that never got their first job, that are just looking, how can I get a job? What would they advise to the youth listening to you right now?
I mentioned earlier that the terrain for business in Nigeria is tough and difficult. But rather than getting sunk into that belief, rather we're looking at the areas of opportunities where they exist, so that we can divert our attention from not having to having. Yes, things are difficult. It is excruciatingly difficult to get jobs today. But I can tell you, Paul, maybe, well, they may say because one is displaced, is in a position where you can get jobs. I would say my last 3 jobs I never applied. Not because of position. I never applied. People are still getting jobs without applying in Nigeria today. Like for instance, in Berger Paint we have a policy. I don't have to know you for you to work in Berger Paint. People should express yourselves. Be on LinkedIn. Yeah, be on a network where you can easily be identified. Don't hide yourself. Don't hide your talents. If you really want to do career, I mean, at times you can even go and do some, what do they call it, vocational jobs that you will not even be paid for. But you take a learning from there that will become part of you for the rest of your life. And then another thing that the likes of Reverend Matthew Kuka had always said, he said, if you don't have a job, then create one. Yeah, that may sound like I'm not talking to the right people. Now, where is the money to start the job? But it will surprise you that the little you have, appreciate what you have, that little. Try it, you'll find out that something will come out of it. We have cases, they are bound, though they're exceptional cases, of people who believe in themselves, who eventually made, progress in life because the little they have, they were able to invest it wisely. Yeah, and if people know you've got talent, I'm telling you, they will come after you. You need to market yourself. It is not enough for you to just sit at home, I don't have a job. Yeah, there was a time when we were young. I told my cousin, in those days, Molue was the in thing. Not when you have all these lag boss now. Yeah. You find out that I told my cousin, I said, it will not be so bad that I can't find something to eat. I said, worst case scenario, I would do something, do some work, even if it is mania jobs. By then we're scared too that we'll come out of university, we'll not get a job. I would do some work. And then I would start by buying kabu. I would drive it for some time. From there I would graduate into Danfo. I would be the conductor myself. I would employ the driver. Yeah, I just had that determination. Worst case scenario, I buy Moonway. It sounds out of this world. But the truth remains that that's the kind of inspiration with which, if you are determined to succeed, you will succeed. And I believe entrepreneurs succeed more than most of us sitting in the office. In fact, our employers, they invested. And that's why we are employees today. So if you have that determination to succeed, nothing stops you from becoming an employer of labor tomorrow. A lot of the rich Nigerians we see today, who legitimately are rich, most of them started from a humble beginning before they got to where they got to. But some are more determined than the others. So the more determined ones, they eventually make more success. I'm not saying it's everybody that is determined that will be succeeding and become a millionaire. Yeah, but at least you meet your basic needs.
Yeah. All right, so to wrap up, obviously you are a success. Anybody looking at you will say, yes, you are a success. You define success.
Success is relative.
How do you define success?
Success is relative. I thank God for, because the Bible says in any situation you find yourself, you should thank God. But I can tell you, success is still very far away from me by my own definition of success. I believe the skies are just the beginning. We are just starting the journey. When we say, at what age? What exactly is wrong with this man? I'm only about 3 years. But the truth is, up until we hit the covert of the grave, you never give up. You just have to continually improve. I want to improve on where I am today. I'm not an entrepreneur today. Yeah, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm working for entrepreneurs. So I'm an entrepreneur. And I want to graduate to become an entrepreneur that I will equally have those that I will be signing their paychecks. Families that will be living on efforts I've made to make their lives better. Employ CEOs to work for me. That's my biggest ambition in life. And I've not gotten there. So, yes, that's why I say it's relative. For someone who's not gotten a job now, wow, he's the CEO of a publicly quoted company. How can they say he's not successful? Yeah, for him, it's a success. But for me, I'm just starting. For somebody else, people say, well, is the MD, I've become MD. What else do I still want in life? I've gotten to my El Dorado. As far as I'm concerned, I'm actually challenging myself that I still have a long way to go. I have friends who own their businesses today. When we were looking for jobs, they said they were not going to do any job. They were going to be entrepreneurs. From that moment till today, in fact, if we compare ourselves, majority of them, I would say quite a number of them are multi-millionaires. Some have not been that successful, I must confess. And some of us who are privileged to be in employment, at least we're not laggards. Yet some people, you know, the fingers are not equal, you know what I mean. But I'm saying, if I'm here now, I actually want to be here. So for this man, he could see this as success. For this man, he could see this as success. But for this man, I mean, he's thinking of something higher.
All right, thank you so much. So for you, success means continuous striving.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Mr. Folikwe, for spending time to share your wisdom on Experience Annex.
Thank you very much, sir. It's a pleasure having you.
I have been speaking with Mr. Peter Folikwe, the Managing Director and CEO of Berger Paint Nigeria PLC, one of the biggest paints, coatings and allied products manufacturers in Nigeria. If you wish to learn more about how to keep your house, structures and cities beautiful, Berger Paints is a company to call. I believe you have enjoyed listening to today's episode of Experience Annex. Until the next episode, I have been your host, Paul Uduk.